our key customers says if their family was travelling behind that truck, would you want them sitting behind something that isn't secure?
You know, when there's a multi-car, multi-vehicle accident, it's many vehicles. It could be 8 to 10 vehicles. It could be 1 to 2 people actually whose lives are ended, and that's a terrible space to be in. But for us, it's one of saying, we've got your back. The Daywalk journey is one of assuring you that you will be safe, your product will be safe, your operators will be safe, because life is so precious. We've seen a gap. It's in that space of proactive preservation or proactive storage. And that's really where things like our actual safety storage and transport in our steel pallet range has become, it's not just a nice to have, it's a must have.
We needed to do this safely, so we needed to make sure that we could minimise the risk of those cages falling off.
The chain of responsibility legislation which came in mid-2018, they're putting the responsibility of transportation and logistics back onto everybody in the supply chain.
You step back however many years, typically you'd have seen a timber pallet, so it's a normal nailed boards on the top, and there'd be some form of strapping, probably steel strapping, over the component, and then it might be wrapped in some form of plastic. To fast forward to, you might say, what tomorrow's transport and preservation is going to look like. It's a whole transformational space that I see. The stakes are high, the equipment is extremely valuable, so we're not talking thousands, we're talking tens, we're talking hundreds of thousands, we're talking millions of dollars. So you might say any form of protection that we can offer, or that can be offered, is of high importance and interest to the marketplace. And we've come from an area where there is a lot of, you might say, status quo. And in the market that we play, we see almost a void in technology. There's been a lack of progressiveness. Remove the timber pallet, replace it with a steel, or even beyond that, other material units. And instead of using strapping, which we've seen too many times, boards being pulled off because of the tension of strap, we now have Bolton systems that take the unit straight down into the base of the pallet. So we're removing all these other external straps. And instead of, you might say, some form of traditional plastic, with some of the environmental challenges and, you might say, directions that leading edge companies are taking, that is totally removed potentially. And there's other form of protection, be that a steel outer, whether it's a reusable cover, something that you might say gets environmental tick. And that's an incredible transformation, a metamorphosis beyond what we ever considered.
So that is why we came up with the solution of a systemized solution. It's not just the pallet, we also engineer bolts, we also engineer a choking system to put things on top of the pallet, secure the thing and the base into the pallet, and being able to attach the component in a safely manner to transport the thing from point A to point B. That is why I'm talking about a system, because the customer needs not only the pallet, more than that. They need to transport securely from point A to point B the component.
So where Daywalk is really playing a role in proactive rust prevention, or you could say proactive corrosion prevention, is in a whole system. So it's really giving our customer base that guarantee. And it is an overall outer protection, and then there's inner protection, there's void fills, which forms part of the overall Daywalk preservation system, which includes the skin protection. So that eliminates, it removes the oxygen from the surface. So you can rest assured, you can be assured that that shaft, even if there is any break in the integrity of the outer protection, be that a steel, be that a canvas, be that a plastic, whatever it is, if there's any, you might say, break in that, the steel surface is still protected, and you have that 100% guarantee that that shaft will not rust. That flange will retain its shiny surface as it was when you applied that skin in the first place.
The second is that it's going to save you time and money. So we're developing systems which are designed to cut down time, cut down the cost over time.
We need to grow with the bigger companies. and the bigger companies require ISO accreditation. It just makes it more efficient and more consistent.
And also look at that environmental space. So we're looking at reusable, environmentally friendly options.
So there's a culture of customer centricity, one of the customers being important.
So basically the whole team is involved in satisfying the customer's needs or making the customer happy in any way that they can.
And whatever the customer, you've asked questions about, is it a time, is it a quality, is it a saving? It could be any of those, but it's what's important to the customer. It's how the customer sees it. That's how we believe we've grown, by listening to the customer. And whether that was a cage or a pallet or strapping with a rating on it, whether it was plastics with how many years you can get, it's really the whole Daywalk journey is be assured. If you need a pallet, if you need a strap, if you need a cover, we can look you in the eye and say, this is what you'll get, and you know you'll get it.